Tonight on Joy News Prime, Vice President Dr. Bawumia rules out legalization of the use of motorbikes for commercial passenger transport, saying the trade is not safe.
Not legalize Okada business in Ghana. It may be a tough decision, but it is in the interest of Ghanaians. We have had discussions, but we will stick to our decision.
State prosecutors reveal law lecturer Professor Albene, whose lifeless body was discovered at the weekend, had a piece of cloth stuffed in his mouth, ostensibly to keep him silent. Also, former secretary to the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining speaks for the first time about the expose by investigative journalist Anasa Rimayo, saying the documentary shown to the public is not a true reflection of what transpired.
Special prosecutor is investigating that matter, but like I said, vindication is within the womb of time. Time will tell.
The minority is alleging government is planning to bring back PDS to take over the electricity company of Ghana should it be re-elected this December.
It's clear that they still have an agenda to take back ECG.
And in business,
government statistician says there could be some marginal growth in the third and fourth quarter of 2020 as the economy recorded a contraction by 3.4%, the largest in 37 years.
I'll be circumspect in indicating that another contraction is going to happen in the third quarter, simply because a number of interventions have been instituted, and it's going to be a play out on how these interventions would mitigate the further effect of COVID-19.
And later in this bulletin, independent presidential aspirant Kofi Koranteng condemns doubling of filing fee for presidential aspirants, alleging it was done at the behest of the ruling party to eliminate potential challenges in the December election. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The news is coming to you live from our studios in Accra, here on Fanofa Street, on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Vice President Dr. Bawumia is ruling out legalization of the use of motorbikes for commercial passenger transport by the current regime. The Vice President's position is at odds somewhat with communication from the Transport Ministry last week about ongoing consultations with stakeholders on the matter. The opposition NDC has promised to regularize the Okada business if it is elected, and there have been suggestions the governing party may go ahead of its main rival, speaking at the signing of an MOU by VW and Black Ivy on the production of affordable homes and affordable cars in Ghana. The Vice President said rather than legalize Okada, the operators should come together and seek rather to buy cars to transport passengers.
There's been a recent discussion about Okada in Ghana, this motorcycle transport. I think that in the context of what we are doing, we would rather encourage the Okada riders to come in and try to buy and lease these vehicles so that they can run businesses. They need to graduate from this risky and less safe Okada riding to a safer means of transportation. Their problem will be a lack of capital. But if you bring in new leasing policies and we have our national ID cards with our digital addresses and so on, we can have a credit system working and give you an option other than this risky. You don't want to finish graduate school and then you make a life in Okada riding. You can have a better option, and we will give you a better option. So yes, we will not legalize Okada business in Ghana. It may be a tough decision, but it is in the interest of Ghanaians. We have had discussions, but we will stick to our decision to provide a better alternative for the Okada riders. Let's give them opportunities to buy safer vehicles, to lease safer vehicles and pay over time. And I think it's a better option than what the alternative is.
Joining me via Zoom is Executive Director and Founder of Top Tech Transport and Logistics, Cecil Gabra. Cecil, your stance on the controversial subject is that you are against the legalization of the trade. With the NDC bent on legalizing it when it assumed office, does that change anything? Mr. Gabra. Mr. Gabra, kindly unmute for me.
Can you hear me now?
Very well.
Okay, right. Yes, so for road safety advocates and the Association of Road Safety Management, we are in line with the government's decision not to legalize Okada. We are looking for the safety of Ghanaians. I have said this several times that instead of us legalizing Okada, it is much more better and appropriate to have a manufacturing plant to sell to Ghanaian workers, farmers, motorcycles and tricycles so that they can manage their own affairs. Because if you have a motorbike and then you are using it for commercial purposes, obviously what will happen is that you will be killing people, honestly speaking, because you will wish that you make money as soon as possible, and therefore your opinion rider's life will be at a very serious risk, okay? And then don't let us be confused with what people are thinking of delivery services by motor. It's very different from picking passengers as they become opinion riders. What it is that whatever be the situation, if your brother is seated behind your motorbike, you'll be much more very careful than any other passenger. And then, you know, these guys make a lot of money. However, if we are comparing what is happening in other countries to Ghana, I would say for now that we must not encourage it at all. Of course, you look at the laws, LI 2180 to be precise, Regulation 1280 states categorically that you must not pick anybody behind you as opinion rider and charge the person. Right. So for me, our Association of Road Safety Management, which is made up of consultants, medical doctors, and so on, are quite happy. We just had a Zoom meeting and we are happy about the initiative from the government to say we are not going to legalize Okada. When we legalize Okada, then we'll have a lot of accidents. If you look at what is happening in Rwanda, Rwanda has got a better system than us, whether we like it or not. They have even gone ahead to give the riders vests to identify them and so on. Right. They even have apps that you can call an Okada to come to your house to pick you to wherever you want to go. Fine, it is faster. But 80% of the accidents in Rwanda are caused by this same Okada riders. So if African countries are saying that, look, their brothers and sisters are dying, why do we Ghanaians say we are going to copy them? So it is wrong for any political party to say that, oh, okay, when we come to power, we will do it, so vote for us, please. And I say it without fear or favor that nobody should do that to invite such people to death. If you bring in the Okada and say you're going to legalize it, then the whole town, already we are suffering. 10 years ago when Okada started, we spoke to the police. The police said, oh, we're going to tackle it, we're going to arrest all of them. But what are we seeing? I feel the best thing for us to do now is to look at the enforcement. Enforcement is weak, whether we like it or not. We need more policemen, we need more equipment for them, so that they stop this Okada.
And so not even regularizing it would make it better. But again, the vice president says instead of regularizing or legalizing, they would rather help them purchase vehicles, locally assembled vehicles. What difference does it make?
Driving a vehicle is safer, okay, than riding a motorbike, my dear lady. Right, if you are riding a motorbike, all your body is exposed. If you are driving a vehicle, You are safe by the doors and the pillars in the vehicle. If even you have a rollover, that's in an accident, you are even secured if you are wearing your seat belt. Do we have motorbikes with seat belts? No. The tricycles that we have don't even have seat belts. And if they have, we don't have pillars to support you in any form of accident. In fact, it's not the safest thing that we should encourage at all.
But you also have an interesting view of how to prevent the Okada carnage. You say if we assemble the bikes locally and make it affordable, it could reduce the carnage. How is that?
Yes. Okada picks at least, I'll say, I wouldn't like to say poor people as such, but people who don't have vehicles, people who cannot afford to buy vehicles, right? They patronize Okada. However, if we look at them, let's pick it up that you're a messenger from working with the ministries and then you want to get to work, right? If you have your own motorbike and you are trained by a proper driving school on how to ride a motorbike, obviously that saves your life. I mean, do you know for a fact that even motors must not ride in between vehicles in the middle of the road? Motorcycles must select the outer lane and ride, and therefore, if there's anything at all, they should stay in the outer lane. Okay, but what do we see in this country? They ride in the middle of the road. They do not have any respect for the traffic regulations. They run the red lights. The police sees them, and they cannot do anything because they are handicapped. But if you yourself have your motorbike and it is red, nobody will tell you to stop. And we see it all the time. Those who have big bikes, I mean, those respected people who respect the laws will stop at the red and then wait for the green before they go. And even the green lights that we see doesn't mean you should go. It means you may go if there's no other vehicle or motor rider coming. So if bikes are assembled in Ghana and given to you, myself, fine, we'll be disciplined and then reduce the carnage on our road. But then if we encourage Okada, if we encourage Okada and say that, look, we should give motorbikes to these young people and even train them. Honestly speaking, they are not trainable. It is not going to work. And they are rather going to continue to kill people. My dear, speak to Kolebu Teaching Hospital. I am challenging multimedia that they should go to Kolebu and go and get the real facts about motor accidents.
Cecil Garba has been speaking on the risk involved in legalizing Okada. He is a road safety consultant. We've been trying to reach the Transport Ministry to react on this matter, but they're yet to do that. State prosecutors have revealed deceased law professor Yao Bene, who was murdered in his home last week, had his mouth stuffed with a piece of cloth, ostensibly to keep him quiet. 4 persons picked up by the police have been charged with the murder of the senior law lecturer at the University of Ghana. The 4, 3 cleaners and a houseboy, rendered services at his Adrigano mansion, where the lifeless body of Professor Yao Bene was found in a pool of blood last Saturday morning. Court correspondent Joseph Akablay was in court as the charges were filed, and now reports.
According to prosecutors, the law lecturer was found dead with his hands and legs tied with a rope. A rag had also been stuffed in his mouth. The 4 individuals are persons who worked at the professor's residence and are being held pending further investigations. The charge of murder has been leveled against them. Lawyers for 2 of the accused persons are already challenging the work done by the police investigators. A member of the legal team, Robert Suma, on Wednesday told the court the prosecutors failed to show how the accused persons are connected to the crime. He urged the court to grant them bail, insisting despite being saddened by the death of the lecturer, the police must carry out thorough investigations. State prosecutors opposed the bail application, saying investigations had just commenced and the application was premature. The court, presided over by Liano Butche, denied the accused person's bail. The case has been adjourned to September 30 for continuation.
An interim report by Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, has revealed that infrastructure projects constructed under government's $1 million per constituency initiative lacks transparency. Research analyst at CDD, Gilfred Esiama Boateng, who presented findings of their monitoring, observed there was little or no information about the cost of projects and the contractors involved. Mr. Esiama established that some of the projects are wasting away because of their poor siting within the beneficiary constituencies. He blames this on government's failure to consult community leaders.
The development authorities do not also have any operational guidelines for the implementation of IPEP. So how do you coordinate? How do you coordinate? These are key development actors within Ghana now because they are supposed to receive huge funds to ensure development. So if these things are not there, how do you coordinate to ensure that the development is realized and is beneficial to the people? Worryingly, we realize that bureaucrats, key officials, as I stated earlier, they have information, they know where the projects are, they know some of the projects, but they've been ignored in the selection of project sites and supervision of projects. So their knowledge is limited to where the projects are and what are the projects. But when it comes to key decisions around selecting the appropriate project sites, these people have been ignored. When it comes to supervision, so what they do is to monitor. Some will say, well, we're going around, we know this project is here, so we go about and then see how it is going. But they can't hold anybody to account. Again, there is lack of transparency in contract information and other technical documents. So they don't have the site plans. Even the MMDCs don't have the site plans. They know the project, they know where it is going. They don't have the site plans, they don't have the contract documents. So when they are going, they just go see what is going on, but they can't have any detailed information for them to interrogate how these projects are being implemented. Kwawu South constituency in Eastern region, how far the Lord has brought them, you haven't seen much progress in completing this project. So we have this, and maybe we will discuss this. Have you seen the picture here? So this is Bepong Clinic, and they have done this water facility for them, but the facility cannot be used.
Mayor Chief Technical Advisor at the Ministry of Monitoring and Evaluation, Andrew Esibe, says the survey does not paint the true picture.
Also through the presentation, they outline a number of the projects that were completed, those ongoing, and so those are the various stages of completion. So one would definitely argue that I think it was a fair assessment to let Ghanaians appreciate the level of progress as regards to the implementation of IPEP.
Oh, no, I mean, certainly, but remember, they stopped in February 2020, and we are in September. So in between, a lot could have taken place. So they may have to go back and see whether some of the observations they made still pertain. That's the message I was trying to give them.
And for the ministry, do you think that between February and now, there has been some progress, massive progress?
Absolutely, absolutely, because our assessment, the rapid assessment of One Village, One Dam went beyond February. And the interviews we had indicated that the beneficiaries appreciate the efforts of government to, provide them with water to sustain their agricultural activities and so on.
Still on assessing government, former secretary to the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bisio, has disagreed with assertions government has failed in its war on Galamsey, saying there were no specific timelines. According to him, the introduction of the Galamsey software to aid in the war, together with the training of about 4,000 miners on good mining practices and the provision of QR codes to allow easy monitoring and evaluation of mining activities, falls in line with government's 2016 pledge to restructure the small-scale mining industry. Charles Bisio has been speaking with Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
Now, in the 2016 manifesto, it did not say that I would deal with it within 4 years. There are no timelines.
No, but the government has, or the party has only one term.
No, but
if the Ghanaians think that he's done well, then they can renew your mandate for the
But government is continuous, right?
Sure,
so,
I agree.
So are you saying...
But again, if you are working as a government, you have to work within a 4-year mandate period.
Yes.
Because you don't know whether Ghanaians are going to renew your mandate or they are going to kick you out.
So if you come in and say, I'm going to do the roads of Accra, and
the expectation is that you're able to do that, deliver
all the roads,
within 4 years.
No, you see,
you disagree with that.
No, there are something called realistic targets. Okay, that's why I'm saying that we did not say that within 4 years. He said I'm going to deal with it. Okay, restructure.
But not within 4 years.
No, so we have restructure the artisanal, restructure the artisanal and small scale mining sector. Under it, we have sanitization. Okay, the restructuring was that bit where you have to actually put everything, you stop it. Okay, 2 years ban, bring all the miners together, bring them on board, train them and all that, and then I think within that you have the sanitization as well. We'll come to the water bodies. The water bodies, you see, and then I'll come to the president putting his presidency on the line. Let me address that one first. If the president says that I'll put my presidency on the line,
he's prepared to put his presidency.
Yeah, he's prepared to put his presidency on the line. And if he had said that before the chiefs, and then leave and not do anything about it, then he's failed Ghanaians. You've seen work in progress, and I've mentioned the things that has gone under it. 4,000 to 5,000.
Yeah, you mentioned, but the water bodies are still the same. I mean,
if you go to the United Kingdom, I'll tell you something. River Thames, River Thames. It took about 25 years to get to where it was now. It is now. Okay.
So you want to take about how many years for us to get to?
That's what I'm saying. That if you're telling me that it needs to be dealt with within 4-year period, then you should tell me how long it took for it to be destructed.
But that was why the Ghanaians kicked out the NPP, the NDC government in 2016 and brought in the NPP with the expectation that they would deal with the problem.
And so you think the problem hasn't been dealt with?
I mean, it is obvious. I mean, our reporters have been on the ground. Yeah. The water bodies are still 30 years. They see mad.
So that's what I'm saying. You see,
but I can mention clearly.
Yeah. So that is why I'm saying that if you're reporters, you're also researchers. Right. Okay, I would report like this: that I've been to River Pra, and the president said he was going to do it. It's taken him 3 years. However, River Thames or other water bodies that were destroyed took under 1 year to do it. Then we actually have an analysis.
So how many more years should we give the NPP?
No, I'm not going to add timelines to it. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to do it, then you're going to say that, yes, it took 15 years to do that, so it's going to take me 3 years to do it. But you don't have timeline because it's a water body that is flowing.
Charles Bisil, who was forced to resign following an expose by investigative journalist Anas Arimeo Anas, also dismissed claims he was complicit in the saga. In his first public comments on the matter, the presidential staffer insisted the Anas expose does not reflect the true picture of what transpired between him and the Tiger IPI agent. He says he remains confident the special prosecutor will exonerate him.
Well, first of all, the police exonerated me. The special prosecutor is going into the matter. He's actually still investigating it.
He's still investigating?
Yes.
Have you been there because they complained that?
I've been there.
You've been there?
Yeah. Everybody, all those who allegedly were involved have been interviewed. So I'll wait for him to finish. But the premise that you
believe that you'll be exonerated too as well with the special prosecutor?
I believe that I'm clean. CID. Did you see the person handing over the cash? Can you tell me the person?
No, we saw the video that
exactly. I will give you this phone, and then you take a photo of you without me, and then I'll go and write something and put my.
Is that what happened?
I'm not going to go into it, but I'm saying that
Ghanaians need to know what happened. I mean, I think a lot of questions have been.
No, I'm not.
Some say you've been defamed, others say no, you really were complicit in the act. So at least for the viewers and the people.
I'll tell the viewers that what I will tell the viewers that vindication is in the womb of time.
Employment and Labour Relations Minister Ignatius Bafuria says unemployment in the country has reduced progressively since President Akufo-Addo assumed power. Citing a survey by the Ghana Statistical Service between 2015 and 2019, he says the unemployment rate dropped from 11.9% in 2015 to 7.1% last year. He believes interventions by his government played a key role in lowering the figures. Here is a report by Mamisi Thompson.
The Employment Minister, Ignatius Bafwewa, based his data on the Living Standard Survey conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service. The same survey indicated that the youth unemployment also reduced from 16.9% to 12.6%. Despite government's efforts to create jobs, the Greater Accra region is currently leading the unemployment chart with 11.8%, followed by the Ashanti region and Volta region with the lowest figure of 5.8%.
The metadata by the ministry also indicated that the figure has dropped further to 7.1%. So there has been more than 4.5 percentage drop in unemployment rate within the 5 years, between the 4 years that we are reporting on. So indeed, if that is anything to go by, then it means that NPP has actually made progress so far as issue of unemployment is concerned. According to the GLSS 7, the rate of unemployment is higher amongst females, 9.2, than males, 7.5. In terms of regional breakdown, Greater Accra recorded the highest unemployment rate of 11.8%.
Meanwhile, he has also hinted the creation of an insurance cover for workers in the event of a pandemic. A tripartite technical committee will be in charge of expanding support to workers who lose their jobs.
The scheme, when operational, will focus on providing direct income support to workers who lose their jobs or suffer pay cuts in the event of a social or economic crisis. The scheme will also offer opportunities for training, retraining, job search support, apprenticeship, and internship to enable those who lose their jobs to readjust.
The minister touched on a law that has been passed to protect domestic workers in all parts of the world.
Many of those who go, because there was no such bilateral agreement, went on the blind side of the embassies. So if they had any difficulty, they didn't even...
We're still live on Joy News Prime. We'll take a break. When we return, the minorities alleging government is planning to bring back PDS to take over the electricity company of Ghana should it be re-elected this December.
It's clear that they still have an agenda to take back ECG.
All of this plus business shortly.
Hi everyone, it's time for business with me, Charles Aite. Now, Ghana's economy has recorded a negative 3.4% in the second quarter of the year. This is a contraction, the first time since 1983. These numbers are from the Ghana Statistical Service. Ebenezer Sabote has more in this report. According to the second quarter gross domestic product data, the hotel and restaurant subsector recorded the highest dip of 19.6%. It was followed by the trade, repairs of vehicle and household goods, pushing the services sector to record a contraction of 0.6%. Meanwhile, the country's agriculture sector expanded significantly by 2.5%. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna-Ening explains.
Further share with you quarterly GDP across the three sectors, starting with the agricultural sector. As indicated earlier, of the three sectors, that is agriculture, services, and industry sector subsectors, the agriculture sector was the only sector that saw an expansion in the second quarter of 2020. And this expansion of 2.5% that was recorded for the agriculture sector was mainly driven by the livestock subsector. Specifically, the livestock subsector grew by 5.7% on a year-on-year basis. The subsector within the agriculture sector that contracted over the period was the forestry and logging subsector, which contracted by 8.4%.
Industry, however, pushed the economy downwards, declining by 5.7% in the period. Even though there was a fall in the economic growth rate, the country's economy remained a service-led one.
The structure of the economy did not change that much with respect to sectoral distribution for Q2 2020. We have the services sector still dominating with 48%, and its equivalent is 38,847.6 million Ghana cedis. This is followed by the industry sector that contributes 33% of the overall GDP with a value of 26,981.1 million Ghana cedis. And the third sector, which is the agricultural sector, contributes to GDP of about a fifth, specifically 19%, with a value of 15,580.1 million Ghana cedis.
Meanwhile, provisional rebase quarterly growth estimates may be revised further based on the availability of additional data. Let's still stay on the figures because Professor Samuel Kobana Inem says the growth rate in Ghana could marginally increase in the third and fourth quarter due to various recovery plans by government. He spoke earlier on to Israel Lai on Business Live.
I'll be circumspect in indicating that another contraction is going to happen in the third quarter simply because a number of interventions have been instituted, and it's going to be a play out on how these interventions would mitigate the further effect of COVID-19. But indeed, one would be careful in saying that the 3.2 would not experience a sharp turnaround as we move into the third quarter and the fourth quarter. As you rightly put it, the effect of COVID-19 still lingers on, especially when we have some restrictions still in place and when we had the international borders still closed down in most part of the third quarter of the year. So we still would have some effect, but the extent of the effect, as in whether it's going to be a contraction or a much marginal increased growth rate, would depend on how the interventions are able to mitigate the effect of COVID-19.
Right. Now, how much of the 3.2 or the negative or the decline, how much of that is going to impact on the annual or the overall growth rate GDP for 2020?
The contraction that we've experienced in the second quarter of 2020 would have to compete with growth rates or otherwise for the first quarter of 2020, as well as the third and fourth quarters of 2020. It will be recalled that in the first quarter of 2020, we recorded an expansion in our economy of 4.9%, and now we've recorded a contraction of 3.2%. So moving into the third and fourth quarters, the outcomes would inform the annual GDP for the year 2020. And again, as was indicated earlier, the prediction of that depends on the extent to which we strongly face the effect of COVID-19 in the next 2 quarters of the year.
Earlier today, some depositors of defunct microfinance and savings and loans companies queued at the Consolidated Bank Ghana to receive all the outstanding claims this time around in cash. Now, this was after government released some 3.65 billion cedis to the receiver, Eric Danepa, to facilitate the payment. Nicholas Brown has the details.
Depositors of the collapsed microfinance companies, savings and loans and finance houses will from today have full access to their funds. It follows the government's resolution of the original commercial paper, also known as bond. The government yesterday released a total of 3.56 billion Ghana cedis to settle the remaining depositor claims of the 347 defunct microfinance companies, 23 savings and loans and finance houses. Affected customers have been directed to visit any branch of the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited to receive their money through the new funding arrangement. Today, we are here at the head office of the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited to ascertain the facts whether or not these customers have been able to access their funds. Now, I have a customer here with me, so let's try and speak to one customer. How long have you been here?
About 30 minutes ago.
And have you,
I decided to sit at the customer's lodge to be served by a friend. So that's why I didn't come to meet anybody here per se, but I didn't want to go through the normal process.
What did you want to go through the normal process?
Because I had a lot of things I was addressing at that particular time. So I needed privacy to make calls and to receive calls, whilst my colleague did my transactions for me.
So have you been able to have access to your funds?
Yes.
All of your funds?
All of my funds.
My colleague Nicholas Brown interacting with a customer who received her funds, according to her, in just 5 minutes. That's it by way of business. Sports is up next.
Thank you for staying with us and joining us. Prime time now for the sport. I'm Gary Al Smith. Now, the Executive Council member of the Ghana Football Association, Nana Oduro-Safo, has described the promise of the opposition new National Democratic Congress to pay each Ghana Premier League player if they are voted into power as good news, provided it is feasible. He said, per the minimum wage in Ghana, it's cut off at 350 cedis. So the 1,500 promised by the NDC will be a boost to the football industry.
Communications Director of the National Democratic Congress, Shami Jemfi, revealed the intent of the largest opposition party to give each Ghana Premier League player 1,500 Ghana cedis should they be given the mandate to govern the country in the next 4 years. This move, many believe, will help curtail the mass exodus of players from the domestic league. Executive Council member of the football governing body in the country, Nana Oduro-Safo, speaking to Joy Sports, said such financial support for players in the country would come as a plus.
I think it's really a very good news to us if only it's going to be feasible. If it's going to be possible, yes, it's the best news we've ever heard since we started doing football, that the government is going to pay at least 1,500 to a player at the minimum. I think if it comes to pass, it will be the best thing.
Explaining why he believes 1,500 Ghana cedis for each Ghana Premier League player should be enough, he said the minimum wage for each player locally is 350 Ghana cedis.
You know, this one, they are putting a cap at 1,500 Ghana cedis. And we, as at now, have the cap to be 350 Ghana cedis. That's the minimum wage that everybody should take in Ghana. So if this one should come to pass, I think it's a laudable one, because I don't see anything wrong with any of the aspirants saying they want to pay 1,500 Ghana cedis to each and every football player in the Premier League, because MPP have done it by paying 500 Ghana cedis to girls, females. Clubs, Premier clubs, 30 each in all the clubs. So I think they will be able to do it, and NDC says they're also going to do it. It is feasible. Where we're going to get the funding is the problem, but I think it's feasible. So
many people have attributed the exodus of players from the domestic league as a result of a poor remuneration.
Still on the GFA, and former Executive Council member of the association, Frank Nelson, believes that the tour of Kurt Okraku to corporate organizations could win some confidence into the football industry. According to him, such visits give potential investors a true picture of the association, and most of them could be convinced to support the FA's activities.
The leadership of the Ghana Football Association in their last Congress accepted a budget of 71 million Ghana cedis for a secretariat for their activities for the next football season. A former executive committee member, Frank Nelson, says the constant tour of corporate bodies by the president of the association, Kurt Okraku, is one key reason why most corporate bodies are likely to support the GFA.
The way the president is doing his tour in terms of corporate institutions trying to approach them, I think a lot of them will come in based on
sympathy. A lot of them will come in on based on understanding of people will come in based on the reality on ground, knowing especially this COVID that now the institution has not got enough money. So I think that 71 million is not something too big for Ghana Football Association. I believe if the corporate bodies in this country comes up, I think it should be important as you say is possible.
He also added that the decision of the Ghana Football Association to request for 71 million Ghana cedis budget from the Congress means that the GFA already have potential sponsors on board.
I know companies who can do it, and I'm sure the Ghana Football Association is stepping on something for them to say 71 million. They cannot just say it like that if they are not stepping on something. So I'm very sure in the next few months, the president will announce a big package for Ghana football.
The Ghana Football Association budget for the next financial year started on July 1 and would end on June 20, 2021.
For the sport for now, Gary Al Smith here. When we come back on the other side, we have more, including updates on Kudua Samoa and where he will go.
Time now for Showbiz. Becky is here with the very latest. Hi, Lady Becky.
Hello to you, Lady.
I'm in love with your white.
Oh, thank you so much. Look at me.
Like we do in India.
Aisha, let's go straight. Let's talk about Shatta Michi. Well, now Michi, just Michi.
Michi.
So there are, rumors.
Are they at it again?
No, they are not. This time she was on Okuku Seku, hosted by actress and musician Emilia Brobe. Remember Emilia Brobe?
Yes.
You know she's a musician too. But she's also a presenter.
You don't want to talk about that.
So she interviewed Michi, and Michi has been revealing why she left Shatta Wale. She didn't go into the relationship because of fame and money. She actually got into the relationship because she cared about Shatta Wale. And so when it's time for her to move on, she moved on.
Did.
Michi's not going back, I guess. Well, maybe. You might never know what will happen.
Oh, Michi, please come back to us.
But you know what? So still on celebrity marriages and breakup, Cardi B has filed for divorce from Offset.
We should ask the creator why he created Ladies and Gentlemen.
Let's move away from that. Aisha, do you believe in dreams? You know, I've always wanted to become an air hoster.
Okay.
And then I changed my mind and then I said I want to become a psychologist.
Why?
And then journalism came through. But I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. Let's talk about Kanayo, 58-year-old.
Why, you dreamt about it?
No, he didn't dream about being an air host or anything. He wanted to become a lawyer and he pursued
that dream.
And he has a message for the young ones.
Congratulations to Kanayo. He's one of the veterans in the acting.
And the fact that he pushed, I remember he came to Ghana and I wanted to interview him, and he said that, well, he doesn't have anything really going on. He's studying for law, or he's going to law school. So when he's done,
dedicated his life to the law.
And I'm amazed that...
And it's paid.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
I'm happy for him.
Don't also forget that Kim Kardashian
is also studying to become a lawyer. Oh, that's good. I wish her well.
I mean, anything can happen. You went to law school yourself.
No, I'm done with
Can you give me some of the jargons?
Oh, excuse me. Okay. So for Kanayo, very soon you'll be hearing the Viva Vocates, all the Ultrim Partum, and all of those things. In them. Ultra convict and all of that.
You're confusing me with the language. Thank you very much, Aisha.
Thank you so much for bringing us Showbiz. And that'll be it for Showbiz. We're back with World News. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. To the rest of our stories, and the Military High Command in the next couple of days will be holding a conference at Jirapa in the Upper West region to discuss security issues in the country pertaining to the December 2020 general elections. Chief of Defense Staff Lieutenant General Obed Akwa, in a meeting with the Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Salih, stated they will also be discussing security issues in the sub-region. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam has more.
Ahead of the two-day conference at the Royal Cozy Hill Hotel, popularly known as Juba, Dubai, the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Obed Akwa, led a host of other high-ranking officials of the military command, including the Chief of Army, Naval and Air Staff, and Intelligence, and the General Officer commanding the Northern Command, to call on the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Salih. Lieutenant General Obed Akwa disclosed important issues which borders on the country's security and the sub-region, will be discussed at the conference.
If you recall, about 2, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had a major exercise in this region, and we took the opportunity to visit very strategic areas in your region, and we were hosted by the Jirapa Dubai director, and we thought that it was an atmosphere befitting for further conferences. So for this particular conference, we chose among all the possible areas in Ghana to come back to your region and take advantage of the serenity of the region, take advantage of the peace in the region, and deliberate on matters that border on security, not only for the country, but also for the region. And we think that we will benefit from the facility at that hotel. Beyond that, we also like to familiarize ourselves with some of the issues that pertain to your region, and that is why we are here.
Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali commended the Military High Command for instituting measures to ensuring that the country is peaceful. He was happy of plans to set up a military barracks in the region.
Recently, I was informed about the establishment of a battalion here in the Upper West region, the 10 Mechanized Battalion. The people of this region welcome that, and it is our expectation that under your able leadership, you provide us with a barracks so that we know that you have come to stay.
The Upper West Regional Minister used the opportunity to urge the various army chiefs to be ambassadors of the region, who the Chief of Defense Staff gladly accepted.
And we will sell the region as much as we can, so that you can receive more guests and more corporate bodies to come and hold important meetings here. Because the atmosphere here is really, really peaceful. And flying into Wa was a sight to behold. The beauty of the region is absolutely wonderful. So we take away very fond memories of the region, and we assure you that we shall come again.
Reporting for the news, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
I'm back here in the car and in the studio. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Now, the front of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, appears divided over the path to be taken to fight the Public Universities Bill currently before Parliament. The University of Ghana branch of the association today organized a news conference to urge the president to use his constitutional powers to withdraw the bill. According to UTAG, the bill is unconstitutional, unnecessary, and will create more problems than it claims to solve. Professor Akosua Adomako-Ampofo, who addressed the media in Accra Wednesday, stressed the bill will stifle academic freedom and make public universities puppets of the executive. According to her, the bill, if passed into law, will damage the country's global standing as a pillar of democratic governance on the continent. Here's Professor Akosua Adomako-Ampofo.
First and foremost, the PUB violates the 1992 Constitution of our Republic. If passed into law, this new legislation would confer on the President powers that the 1992 Constitution explicitly denies him or her under Article 61, 68, 1B, and 195(3). Through provisions in the bill that give the executive majority representation on the university councils and that allow the President to dissolve the council, the President would effectively control universities. The new law would thus erode the protections that the Constitution grants universities in order that they can effectively carry out their mandate of teaching, learning, research. Academics would become beholden to the political party of the day, either as a result of direct interference or through self-censorship, and would cease to be the source to which the media and public can turn for impartial analysis of government policies. Although in the interview on Omai FM, the president did concede that the issue of university councils required a second look, he did not indicate whether these clauses would be totally removed or merely tweaked. In any case, there are many more problems with the bill that make it untenable. Second, the PUB is unnecessary. Public universities are already accountable to all three branches of government, the executive, the legislature, and judiciary, through a large number of laws and institutions. The PUB seeks to attain by legal meddlesomeness what can already be achieved by enforcing existing laws and laid down administrative procedures, and by ensuring that the regulatory institutions do their job.
But while the news conference was underway, National UTAG released a statement distancing itself from the position taken by UTAG Legon. The statement, among other things, said the actions of UG UTAG could derail UTAG's efforts to get the Public Universities Bill withdrawn and threatened sanctions. But Professor Ransford Jampo, a political scientist and member of UTAG UG, thinks the press statement issued by the National Office of UTAG was a needless attempt to arrogate certain powers to themselves that they did not have.
UTAG National is made up of various campuses, UTAG local campuses, of UTAG and all that. Eugene UTAG is one, and they have every right to do what they think or what they deem fit. I'm sure that there is a common understanding, among Eugene UTAG and UTAG National about the Public Universities Bill. I think issues have been raised as to how it potentially could undermine academic freedom and all that, and they are all fighting it. But at this point in time, Eugene UTAG feels it has to, address certain concerns to you guys in the media. And I do not see how somebody would sit in his office and say that we haven't sanctioned what Eugene UTAG should do. I think it's a needless attempt to usurp certain or arrogate certain powers to themselves. And then also, I think in terms of priority, over the years, I believe that many university lecturers had not taken matters of UTAG seriously, because lecturers are always concentrating on their research and being on their books and all that. But for some time now, it appears that if for nothing at all, the PUB has awakened the consciousness of many lecturers, and so they are very critical now, looking at what the national body is doing, and if they feel that it is not in sync with what they want, if it's not in sync with their aspiration, if they feel that the approach and the processes that are being adopted by national is a bit slow or whatever, they have every right to also, voice. This was just a presser. They didn't go attacking anybody. They just ventilated their views. And to say that you haven't sanctioned it, but you see, this is a body that had almost issued instructions calling on UTAG that we were supposed to be embarking on some strike over an unpaid book and research allowance.
On your election headquarters, independent presidential aspirant Kofi Kuranteng has condemned the Electoral Commission's doubling of the filing fees for presidential candidates seeking to contest elections this December, saying it was done at the behest of government. Mr. Kuranteng is of the belief the governing NPP is using the EC to remove potential candidates from the race, adding the decision to charge 100,000 Ghana cedis denies the Ghanaian the right to stand for presidency. He spoke on Prime Morning on Joy Prime TV.
The NPP are in bed with the EC, telling them that, hey, listen, we want to prune this process get these guys out of here. Let's make it $100,000 so we don't have any distractions.
100,000 Ghana cedis.
100,000 Ghana cedis. It's as bad as $100,000 anyway to the Ghanaian because he still can't afford it. I mean,
can you raise 100,000 cedis to pay?
Listen, the people of Ghana are working, and I see the Momo account getting bips. So hopefully, listen, this is not my endeavor. I am here as a servant to represent the people of Ghana. And I'm hoping that the Ghanaian people, if you're watching me, somebody will call me and say, Kofi, you know what? I wrote a check for that 100,000 cedis. Pay this and let's move forward with this thing. And I honestly believe that's what's going to happen.
The minority in Parliament is predicting Power Distribution Services PDS will make a comeback and take over management of ECG if the NPP wins the December elections. Addressing the media at Parliament House this afternoon, minority spokesperson on Mines and Energy, Adam Mutawakilu, claimed the recent announcement by the Information Minister that PDS has sued government is part of a larger ploy that will lead to a PDS comeback. He claims government will not defend the case filed by PDS, and this will result in PDS being declared appropriate beneficiary.
Read between the lines. You realize the agenda they have if they should be voted for in the 7th December 2020. They have now restructured PDS, plan it, and ask, say, oh, take us to court. When we win, we won't put up strong defense. And then you take over ECG again. That is simple and short. So the Information Minister announces that PDS has taken government to court. It's clear that they still have an agenda to take back ECG, our strategic asset, so that family and friends will once again come and take over this strategic asset. I want the people of Ghana to know, Electricity Company of Ghana asset value worth over 24 billion Ghana cedis. And looking at the local partners, they don't have the financial muscle, the technical muscle to handle ECG. And therefore, we need to put a...
The NDC will investigate and prosecute government officials who are behind the deal and refund the about 1.5 billion cedis he says the company took from power consumers.
JM also said when he's voted into power, he will investigate. He will investigate, prosecute anybody who has done something wrong, and more importantly, to ensure that the 1.5 billion that the government is not willing to investigate and get it back to Ghanaians, he will ensure that we get it. Because we need that money. Do you know the number of hospitals that money will build? The number of roads, the number of health, water, boreholes that it will drill. This is huge money, 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. That's almost $450 million.
Let's stay a while longer on power because chiefs and people of 5 communities in the Amansia South District of Ashanti have served notice they will resist all forms of political campaigning and actual voting until the towns are connected to electricity grid. Led by the chiefs, residents of Adeja, Ohiampenika, Kofi Diaka Kurum, Nyame Bechre, and Bricha Krum and Jumako poured onto the streets demanding to be connected before the December elections. They say promises by successive governments to provide them with electricity over the years have not yielded any fruits. Love FM's Erastus Asaredonko traveled to these areas and has filed this report.
This is the Adeja Chief's Palace. It is powered by this small power generator. This is because communities here have not seen electricity for a long time. From Adeja to Jumako, Kofi Diaka Krum Nyamebechre, Brecha Krum to Ohiampenika, the chiefs and people have made electricity supply a major election issue. Notices have been mounted at vantage points in these towns indicating no light, no vote. Today, indigents from the 5 communities came together to give a voice to their plight.
Due to the electricity problem, our kids, in the evening time, they won't get light to do their further studies.
Light near a drawing when I say yes, they are not the sun I do. A bit more the torch.
Some use torchlights and candles to study, but this is risky.
So the Jana and Shana your however.
They promised us in 2018 they will connect us to the national grid. We have not seen anything since then. If we don't see any sign that they are giving us electricity, we won't vote. The chief of Adeja, Nana Kwabena Sabin II, served notice they will not allow any form of political campaign in the affected towns until plans are initiated to connect them to the national grid. Successive governments have failed us, but if we don't see electric power in our towns, nobody should campaign here. We don't need anybody's ballot box. Let Nanado hear this, that if he doesn't give us electricity, we won't vote.
So we are talking about 5 communities coming together to demonstrate today, and the message is simple. They want to tell government that until they see electricity or power connecting to their homes here at Adeja and its environs, they will not allow any form of campaigning to go on here. They will not allow ballot boxes to come in here for people to vote. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Adeja, Manso, in the Ashanti region.
And in the new Edubiase constituency, some members of the opposition NDC have vowed not to vote for the party's parliamentary candidate for the 2020 elections, Adams Abdul Salam, who has not changed. They claim over 5,000 members of the party have already made up their minds to vote for the ruling New Patriotic Party's candidate, George Wine, who is the incumbent. Former constituency organizer Frank Jatta told the media they would stay away from the party until the candidate is changed. There is more in the following report.
Frank Jatta says some of the constituency executives of the party imposed Adams Abdul Salam on them, denying 936 delegates their right to choose their preferred candidate.
Asankregwa is the capital of Amenfi West Municipal, a district in the western region of Ghana. That's our destination for Voters' Voice today.
If you say, what's the region? I said, in fact, your problem, but Osha, a grimo, what's the region? So, and the penny now, so you're free, what's the region? I said, and so Baba Shay, I quite any Yatibia Mukrampuna Sabi, because a Ghana Crumpo, Yankahu, Osha, Timber, Gold, what's that? Adibian one myself, what's the region? I said, and so a double baby say, and Punto, say, fun in Punto, Sabi, or what's the region? I said, I'm that day, and to me, I'm Masima, I can melt to my confirm Jabosum. It says, Michelle, Nissan and Numa Sema, or the Nissan or Kekan, Kuma, any year of Abbey, idea ya Ghana mpanyinfo atu ni nya atu aguna omde nya sakwa bi so edada ma bu no mo me nya adwuma nya na ama krono ni no bi ekosoro in fact Ghana mpanyinfo de o ma moai afie de ese yere ntuma edam ga be 10
Adia me hwe ho atu aba ne se first na wonni sika untumi mfa wo bank SS ena nyame adom na nakufu ado aba or the free education aba se wonni siko wo siko ubetumi ko be free omo wie nso a omo aduane hwe omo mbetro na nsem omo ye aduane mo omo di se ne ohia ni bibempo me say me mawie school bet me kai me ma me bi omo wo ho a ana me nuan mo bi omo ni sika na ne kufu ado ebie kwan so obi anko free hwese ya toma no so a oba ko university a na woni sika ohia ni ohia obi am ongalante ma say wo fo ID card anyame adom na ne kufu ado mo akọ university ni wo wie a wetuatua ne nkakrakra na wo di ama enu achi nso no first no na che say samre say eduane wo den ni ade ene eduane wo fom enam saa enioma na obeyi ya di enuane kogugu ho ntie di sie ne short na om de bi ba ne enya bi to nka samre eburo ne boa edene nso na eburo boa wo fom ankosoro te say the first na eburo boa te no intermediate na ne kufu adu free education no de aba no aboa yen intermediate me hwe ho na mato aba ma no esewuma
stiti ebia no ho ya ma ya timbundu mam sa ndo so dia sa mundu aba ndi ehu enyina kwa egina so eri to aba no endi hu hwe na hu hwe edi se hwanhwe aba no ya ndo kokro motin ya ba san ya ba sisan no se hwanhwe no hwanya stiti na ma ya ne ya ndo aba ayi abre.
And I keep saying December 7 will be interesting. But from 2007, Araba Kumsin has risen through the ranks in a highly challenging newsroom environment to become editor. But her journey hasn't been a jolly ride, breaking many stereotypes about women in journalism. In a series of stories looking at Joy News' longest-serving journalist as part of our 25th anniversary, my colleague Justice Bedu tells the Araba Kumsin story.
Araba Kumsin, 14 years, anchoring, reporting from Parliament and on the ground for Joy News.
How the reception area has changed. 14 years, wow, what a transformation. I walked in with trepidation because I didn't know what to expect. This was Joy FM. I was scared. Because I was coming to face what I'd call giants.
In a country where few women make it in this job, hers has been a fascinating story of dreams. So what has changed about the Joy News journalism over the years that she has been here?
We hadn't had technology developed at the point that we have right now. So we were using, tape recorders. Recorders at the time. We're using a tiny record. They weren't this tiny. I'm sure I think they were this big. It was bulky sometimes. It was even a challenge sometimes because sometimes you'd want to interview somebody, but because of the bulkiness of the recorder, it puts people off and they wouldn't want to record. So at the time, we're using recorders like that.
Araba wants many other young women to come after her, walking in the footprints that she hopes to leave behind someday.
My position is that you shouldn't always look back. You should always, face forward because, there are new opportunities that come every day. I don't think a lot of organizations can boast of being around for 25 years and thriving. The personnel here can compete with anyone across the world, globally. And so I can only say the future is bright for multimedia heading into the next 25 years.
But until that moment comes, it is going to be her silky voice and firm journalism broadcasting on radio, online, and on TV from Fanofa Street here in Accra.
Araba Kumsin, great woman, great abilities, and a big heart. We'll take a break on Joy News Prime. We'll be back with more business and sports.
The newly commissioned liquid bulk terminal comes with loading arms of 5 petroleum products and has a berth facility which is designed to support up to 60,000 petroleum cargo carriers. It is expected to provide about 50% of the country's domestic oil consumption and enhance the transshipment of petroleum products to other countries. Partnered by IBSTEC, a wholly Ghanaian entity, with the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority, the Takrady Port expansion project has been transformed into a world-class marine facility. Dr. Baumia, at the commissioning of the facility, said the indigenous company, IBSTEC, was quite ambitious of the project, but the president trusted in their spirit and might to make this a reality.
The new liquid bulk terminal that we are commissioning today is expected to serve the western, middle belt, and northern parts of the country, including transit petroleum products to our neighboring countries. It is gratifying to note that a liquid bulk terminal with a draft of 14 meters becomes the leading petroleum products berth in Ghana and can handle bulk fuel carrier vessels of 60,000 ton weight. It is also important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that the liquid bulk jetty was financed fully with private funds by IBSTEC, the Ghanaian developer and operator of the Takrady Port Multipurpose Container Terminal. And this is a demonstration of the partnership between government and the private sector, and we wish again to commend IBSTEC for this initiative.
Board Chair of the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority, Peter McMahon, stressed that the commissioning facility is testament to their commitment to fast-track the development of the port and in line with the national development goals.
The liquid bulk terminal consists of 14-meter depth berth, the deepest in-harbour berth in Ghana at the moment, yes, deeper than that of thermal oil berth, loading arms for 5 petroleum products, which are petrol, diesel, LPG gas, bitumen, and other heavy fuels. Full berthing structures, including fenders on dolphins, bowlers, and hooking points. The berth facility is designed to support vessels up to 60,000 tons of petroleum cargo carriers. We will need 2 or 3 of the current tank farm customers to share one of such cargo volumes. As part of the terminal, we have also developed a header station where all the pipes terminate so that importers can tie in to receive their various cargoes. By this new terminal, in fact, more than 50% of Ghana's domestic petroleum consumption demands can be met with ease. These projects make up only a part of the major development vision of the Port of Takrady, as we intend to connect the Sekondi Bay and create one of the largest marine industrial enclaves for Ghana and West Africa.
Adding to the infrastructure at the Port of Takrady, the Vice President cut short for the Phase 2 of the construction of the dry bulk terminal, which is Christian the Atlantic Terminal Limited, with an operational capacity of just 6.5 million metric tons per annum for bulk cargo. This facility will bring to a total the capacity of the port to handle about 18.5 million metric tons each year.
Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Baffoe, says there's been a drop of 4.5% in unemployment rate since COVID-19 restrictions were eased. Now, he spoke at a Meet the Press briefing earlier today.
In the economic sectors, the highest incidence of job losses of 65% were recorded in the other services, i.e. recruitment agencies, media, laundry services, and other organizations within the services subsector, followed by construction, which also had recorded 40%, hotels and restaurants 45%, and private sector education 43%. The shipping maritime subsector, together with finance, agriculture, health, and social work, suffered the least incidence of job losses of 1%. It is worth noting that there is no known record of job losses in the public sector as far as our records are concerned. And here I take this opportunity to express our profound gratitude to His Excellency the President for this laudable policy initiative for protecting public sector work. As indicated earlier, the rollout of interventions, gradual easing of restrictions by His Excellency the President, and the return of economic activity in the country has resulted in the restoration of some of these jobs. Out of the 11,657 jobs out of the 40,000 that were interviewed, some 2,849, representing 24% of jobs, so far been restored. So as the restrictions are eased, work jobs are also restored.
Still on labour issues, the National Labour Commission says it has seen drastic reduction in the number of cases filed on a daily basis at the Commission due to COVID-19. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Ofosu Asamoah, is also calling for the establishment of regional offices across the country. Nicholas Brown has more in this report.
Statistics available at the National Labour Commission reveals that out of a total number of complaints of 4,686 lodged with the Commission, 2,093 of it were fully settled. This was between the periods of July 2005 to December 2011. The total number of cases recorded were made up of summary dismissal, unfair termination, retirement and end of service benefits, as well as unpaid salaries, among a host of others. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Ofosu Asamoah, has been explaining to Joy Business the kind of cases filed at the Commission during this COVID-19 period.
What we now have most is non-payment of salary and wages and termination. You know, most contracts, right, by virtue of the COVID were abrogated. If I engage you as a teacher in my private school and schools are closed down, certainly the contracts, it will be very difficult to go ahead with. But there are no students to teach.
But right? There are also rules and regulations set under the, let's say, guidelines set under the Labour Acts for employers to go through if they want to terminate contract and what have you. So obviously you can't just go ahead and terminate a worker's contract because you are not.
So that is what I said, that you have to give them notice, right? That you will be terminating the contract, or they give you notice. So when we talk of termination, it's a seizure of the contract. Even if you die, the contract is terminated.
The Commission is also pushing for establishment of regional offices across the country to facilitate enforcement of its labour rulings. According to the Commission, this was influenced by delays in enforcing its ruling, which has impacted negatively on many industrial disputes.
And that's it by way of business with me, Charles Aite. Sports is up next. Just
Thank you again for joining us. Gary Al Smith here with the sport. And let's begin
on Instagram. Let's show you what's trending. In the last 10 minutes or so, we have news from France after Sunday's brawl in Paris, where PSG and Marseille got themselves 5 red cards and 12 yellow cards. The verdict is out. So there have been mass bans. Levin Kurzawa has got a 6-match ban. Jordan Amavi has got 3-match ban. Dario Benetto gets 1. Neymar and Paredes have got 2-game suspensions with an additional sentence. And an investigation has been opened into Neymar's claims that Alvaro Gonzalez also racially abused him. That's just one story there. Let's look at another story on Instagram. That has to do with, more stories on Thiago Silva training with Chelsea, and also Barcelona's new signing Francisco Trincao is speaking about his idols. Kwejo Asamoah, his time is up. Let's open that one briefly. Kwejo Asamoah is having trouble at Inter Milan. Basically, the Italian media are saying that Inter want to cut his contract, and this is a record of his injuries in the last year alone. 324 days of cartilage injury, knee injuries for 58 days, and so on and so forth. You can find that on our Instagram page. Well, to Kwejo Asamoah's former Black Stars mate, Asamoah Gyan, and the Chief Executive Officer of the Asamoah Gyan Foundation and Investment, Sami Enimado, has revealed the intent of the company to invest in tennis. Now, he says that it is their calling to unearth young talent in various disciplines, and they are focused on grooming a tennis world champion from Ghana.
Of companies already ventured into boxing, where they were promoting Emmanuel Game Boy Togo and successfully organized the IBO lightweight world title in Ghana. Gyan and his elder brother Bafo in recent times have redirected their focus into playing tennis. Manager of Asamoah Gyan, Samuel Enimado, who doubles as an executive committee member of the Ghana Football Association, says they are considering switching their attention into tennis.
We've done it with boxing. We brought a world title fight to Ghana. We've done it in other areas, youth development. We did something. Asamoah Gyan Foundation did youth sports jamboree, and then baby jet and assisting. So we shouldn't be surprised. This is our passion. This is our calling, and we are now ventured into tennis. Expect more, and there's going to be another tournament very soon.
Mr. Enimado added that they have got a history of unearthing young talents in various sporting disciplines, and tennis is one area that they will be focusing on soon. He says the dream of Asamoah Gyan and his team is to produce a world tennis player from the country.
Yes, there's a young girl we've seen, Equia, we'll be supporting her, and other girls, maybe Magdan's daughter, Super. There's another girl, Mariama. There's young boys out there too. The boy who won, Johnson, and the other young boys out there. We'll be supporting all of them if all things being equal with the plans that we have. We are thinking of getting a Ghanaian rated in the WTA rankings worldwide. So it means that that person will be going up. Beyond, maybe, I remember Franco Furi and Co. went to Davis Cup. Maybe we go to the highest level. That's what, if all things being equal and what we have started doing goes well, and we get more of the support from the GTF, we will achieve that.
Should Asamoah Gyan and his team venture into the organization of tennis championships in the country, they will be adding up to a number of opportunities put together by the Magdan Foundation and the Ghana Tennis Federation.
That's the sport for now. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to follow us on social media for more trending stories. Gary Al Smith here. Bye-bye.
And now to the rest of our stories. And we couldn't prepare well for the National Science and Maths quiz due to the coronavirus. That's one of the many codes justifying why some schools lost the NSMQ prelims. In the Bono Ahafo zone this year, the region wrapped up its set of contests yesterday with only 5 out of 13 participating schools qualifying to the national stage. Speaking to Joy News, PSN and Anaya Alsafo, the losing schools blamed a number of factors for their defeat, ranging from the global pandemic to supernatural factors. There's more in the following report.
We are very excited about it. The feeling is great.
Winning the National Science and Maths quiz will be a great feeling. 13 schools clashed in the contest to enter the 1/8 stage of the NSMQ in the Bono Ahafo zone, but 8 would be asked to go home after suffering defeat. For Kintampo SHS, the pain was rather too much to bear. They were almost speechless.
In fact, we are trying our best in order to win it, but unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way.
After losing to Our Lady of Mount Carmel SHS with a gap of over 40 points, contestants of MIM SHS admitted that they had been beaten to a pulp.
It was really a tough one for us. We've really had a tough time over here.
We thought we were prepared more than the Camels, but it seems they were very, very, very much ahead of us. They're very prepared. So we are hoping for the best next year.
But for some other losing teams, defeat was a matter way more than preparations. Achensua SHS blamed fate.
Actually, we were prepared, but fate was against us. That's what I could see.
Due to what?
Fate was against us.
Fate was against you? How?
Like, looking at how we tried our efforts, but still, we couldn't beat the girls.
Udumasiman SHS, newcomers to the NSMQ prelims, say they had steady sorted, but experience, a vital tool, was lacking.
Although our teachers are good, but because they've never participated before, so they lack tricks, shortcuts, and many teachings.
They also tell me the lack of adequate facilities to prepare was a major problem.
Our school, we don't have the requirements, not really like lab materials, but like the things we use, like the bells and the other things. And this is the first time of doing so. We don't have much things. Like our teachers are good, but due to this being the first time, the practicals and all those stuff, they are not well, like as we continue how it will be, you know.
Also, COVID-19 was a factor.
We tried our best. Due to the coronavirus, we couldn't prepare enough.
Brekum SHS, Our Lady of Mount Carmel Girls SHS, Notre Dame Girls, Techiman SHS and Sunyani SHS had different thoughts on their minds, though, as the challenge now was to do well in the next stage to which they had qualified.
And as the light of the preliminaries goes off in the Bono Ahafo zone, that of the Ashanti region is yet to begin.
PSC Nanaya Osafo, Joy News.
And remember, the coverage of the 2020 National Science and Maths Quiz is brought to you by Joy News, your most credible news channel, and supported by Bright SHS, Kukuru and Tumi, building dreams and shaping the future. DBS Colorlink Plus, roofing sheets, roofing papa pathie, Adonko hand sanitizer, Korompo Suro, and Adonko Next Level Energy Drink, the premium energy drink. Time now for the interactive segment. Let's check out what you've been posting on our platforms. There's been some banter about whether to legalize, regularize Okada or ban it at all. I'm a bit confused right now. Now I need some road safety experts to clear that for me. But the Vice President Baumia says rather than legalize Okada, they would rather help the people purchase locally manufactured vehicles. Let's see what you make of this. Edward Asamoah says, truth is that Okada operators are not happy with the work they do, but they have no option than to do this risky job to earn a living. Better alternative to get them better employed is the way forward for them and not legalizing the operation. Thank you, Dr. Baumia. Allah bless you. Edward Amponsa said, bold decision. We need decent and sustainable jobs, and the NPP has proven without reasonable doubt that their competent approach to governance and development is the answer. Michael says, I'm sure NPP and its communication team will not be happy with Baumia. He has nothing to lie about again and now messing up. Martin Anoyang says, it's very funny because the main reason Okada is flourishing is because the traffic is too much in Accra. Areas where traffic is not much in Ghana, there is no Okada. And Dauda Jural says Dr. Baumia has never disappointed Ghanaians because he always has an alternative, and of course a better one at that. Stanley Norman says, so Baumia is saying they should rather buy a new car from a foreign company who will in turn send our money to their countries. How do you expect someone who doesn't have a job to find even down payments for a new car? How much is typical brand new car? Massa. And Idris says, you people don't have any alternative because GM have already won our hearts and we're going to vote massively for him. Nanaya says, any government that promises to legalize Okada simply means it's not ready to fix our bad roads and also fix our traffic situation or find jobs for the youth. Charity says, it's risky, but that is what is putting food on the table. We're waiting for the alternatives. And J. Augustine says the problem is not about whether to legalize or not. It's about the road network in our remote areas where only motorcycles are able to access. So with this, it doesn't matter whether you have brand new car or not. It's about accessibility. Promise Sage says super incompetent. Mahama and the NDC promised to legalize Okada, all because of vote, because thinking of without thinking of consequences. We the youth deserve better. People are doing Okada because there's no alternative. It's not like they're happy doing it. And those are your comments on Facebook. You can log on to our Facebook page and read more comments for yourself. And that'll be it also for the bulletin tonight. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com for all the updates there. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. PM Express is up next. On Wednesdays, we break it down for you. It's the Manifesto Tracker. And tonight, we're veering into the energy debate. You don't want to miss this.